Hi, this is your Sapil Bhartiya and we are here at Open Source Summit in Vienna, Austria, and we have with us once again Boris Dolley, Director of Open Source Program Office at RTE. Boris, it's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Swapnil, once again, thank you.
It's my pleasure to host you here, and of course we are here at Open Source Summit. A few days ago, you folks hosted Linux LF Energy Summit in Brussels, so there's so much to talk about.
Yes.
But before we get started, let's remove the basics, which is what is LF Energy all about?
So LF Energy is a project inside the Linux Foundation, exactly as a kernel, exactly as Cloud Native Foundation and other automotive grade Linux, etc. So this project is an ecosystem where all the actors of the energy, both industrials and policymakers and regulators, academics, can share all the work they can do together through open source. So that's it.
I will start with LF Energy Summit first, and then we'll talk about the Open Source Summit here. So talk a bit about, I was there last year, the summit. This year I missed it, but so give me an update about the event this year. What was the focus? What kind of sessions happened? Just give us an overview.
Oh, it was a tremendous event. It was the fourth edition. To give you a few figures, at the first in Edinburgh in 2019, we were 40, and we were 250 this time. So it was sold out. So it means if the limit has been more than 250, maybe we will also have been sold out. So to give you insights on what happens there, a lot of people met there. And I mean a lot of people, I mean a lot of consistency. Because, for example, we had the European Commission, we had the World Bank, and we had all the players of the energy. And I forgot to mention when you asked the question why this LF Energy exists and what it is about. It's about making the energy transition all together. And it was a case. All the players, all the actors of this energy transition were together in Brussels.
And talk about what was the theme this year?
Oh, the main thing is going at scale. The first thing is we began to have these SIGs, single interest groups, on the different topics. So you have 7 of them. You have one on AI and data applied to the energy. You have, I'm not able to say all list, but you have power grid modeling, you have grid operation, you have EV charging, you have digital substation, etc. So this meeting was about how we can now we are a very viable project. How can we manage to go faster, stronger and deeper all together by the SIGs, regrouping all the projects in order them to communicate maybe faster and simpler through the SIGs. And we still keep the TAC, so the Technical Advisory Council, in order to manage what is across subject on all this ecosystem. So the focus was, of course, on the EV charging because it's one of the leader of this foundation. And the second one, which is a challenger, very, very nice challenger, is the digital substation world. Because the network is now virtualizing in order to be more agile on what happens with prosumers, consumers that now produce energy with renewable very locally from the roof with battery, etc. So the digital substation is how we can order the mutation of the network in live through a remote control center and not with someone with a car and a USB stick plug-in to reconfigure the network. So no, it's the past. And now we go to the future with this digital substation. So I think it was one of the main topics.
Of course, every session was important to you. Every session was like your baby. But if I ask you some of the sessions that even you were excited about, hey, this is something that you wanted to watch.
Oh, great. The opening session by Alex Thornton, who is the CEO of the Linux Foundation Energy. He said one thing, a very key thing, and it's a gift for me. I wasn't able to think like that before his keynote opening session. He said that the Linux Foundation Energy is like a gym. You come to the gym, you have everything you need to be in a good health, but you have to do the effort by yourself. You have the shower, you have the towel, you have everything you need to be in shape, but you have to work. And when I come to my teams and to say, hey guys, either we go to the vendor side and we do contract management as usual, and easy energy transition will happen with that, maybe, maybe not, or we go to proactive investment on ourselves in the energy transition through the open source. And it means, guys, we stop contract management. We go to gym. We go to build by ourselves. Yes, it's more effort, but we will be healthier. And because we are a public-owned company, it's completely logic to be proactive and to be healthy and to spend the money we have in the good direction, not consuming the budget and each time rebuild solution. No, never-ending project for a never-ending transition. And it was the image that Alex used. And now it's, of course, an open source ID from Alex. So I use it internally in my company.
There is a joke also that I joined gym 6 months ago, but nothing is happening. So today I'm going to check on gym that what's going on. Now, since you gave kind of an example of gym, analogy of gym, which also means a lot of work has to be done. You know, just getting a gym membership doesn't mean that you have to actually work out. At the second point, you said that Alex also said that you have all the equipment. So does LF Energy have all the equipment and you're still working on building those equipments?
I think we can still improve on what are the rituals, the tools we share, etc. For example, we started internally a project with some mates in the TAC to build the OSPO readiness level tooling. So it's something that exists in the FineOS, so the finance open source project in the LF Energy, and we really like to transpose this kind of tooling inside the LF Energy. It's not an idea I shared with Alex and other members at the moment we're speaking together, but I think we can be more mature on some onboarding gift you can give to someone who joined. There is a lot of material already available, but I think we can still improve and modernize certain kind of tools, and that's what we are trying to do. We're thinking with few members, maybe 3 of them and we are trying to build it, and maybe we will suggest to Dan and Alex how can we adopt this work, if it's interesting at the LF Energy scale or not.
And a lot of projects are maturing now. A lot of projects are getting... So can you, if possible, give some examples of the projects which are already in production?
So yes, in production already, we have a lot of critical piece of softwares. We have, for example, the solution for coordination inside a control room, but also with other control rooms. The name of this product, or the project, is OperatorFabric. This is one of the most critical we have in our company. It's on production in all our control room center in France, but also in Europe, because a tender from European Commission was about coordinating all the control rooms in all the Europe. So this product is adopted by all the European actors of grids. So the Regional Coordination Center, RCC, and the TSOs. To give you another example, in the digital substation world, we are now in production with the multi-protocol gateway. The name of this project is Fledge Power. We're also in production with Possible. It's the model for make a study case of the network for security analysis and sometimes forecasting the topology and is the power flow optimal, etc. So Possible is also a very critical piece of software. And I spoke just about the project I know in my company, but there is many other company. For example, the of course famous EVerest. the solution for the EV charging open source standards deploy on the field, and this one is tremendous.
As you're talking about that, there are a lot of projects at RT. There are pretty sure a lot of projects at Leander and other Phoenix GmbH, a lot of all the ecosystem players. What kind of mechanism is there at LF Energy to process those projects from the internal company projects to become an LF Energy project?
Yes, it's first you present in the technical advisory council to say, hey, I'm RT, I work on this project, I really would like to share it in open source. I have already line of codes, already maybe documentation and tests. What about adopting this project in LF Energy? And if yes, if the members of the technical advisory council said yes, the question just after is, how can we, thank you, how can we contribute to your project together? And the magic happens. The ecosystem place where you can meet other to build the wheels you will need for the energy transition is just here. You saw them maybe because you were at the TAC when they were accepted, but maybe you come after and you say, hey, it exists.
A lot of players in the space, they are solving a lot of problems internally now. Those problems, the way they have solved, can benefit the whole ecosystem. So can you also, since you're also director of OSP there, so I also want to talk that why companies should take their code and release into open source.
Oh, it's a question of sharing the cost of innovation. And when it's about energy transition, from a grid perspective, because this is the one I know the best, from a grid perspective, I think we are becoming to be an industry, software-defined industry. And Linux Foundation just released a vertical integrated industry white paper on what is the impact of open source when you are a software-defined industry. And it's what it's happening in our industry in the energy transition. So what you will find is an ecosystem where we will find the common software for you directly available or in not in production, but in a work in progress for production. So you will find an innovation field and a ready for production field, both, to make this energy possible where there is no private value in the software. There is only general interest in these common softwares, non-differentiating software or interoperable software. Because what is magic with open source is when you take a standard, you can read it and interpret what you are reading. But when you take an open source project, implementing these standards, you don't have to make the interpretation, it's already in the line of codes. So it's directly interoperable. So this is the magic, I think, in this.
Now I'll go back to the summit once again. Did you folks make any announcement, any new project announced there, or any other announcements?
The big announcement was this SIGs, organization to go at scale. There were also general members who joined, key general members, vendors jumped in. For example, Velotech is now a general member. Newcomers from North of America, it's Hydro-Quebec. It's a very famous actor in the energy domain. They are very professional, very innovating, powerful in innovation because they have a very huge R&D center. So this kind of news are very interesting, and there was also information about cybersecurity improvement. And this is a key. In this meeting here at the Open Source Summit in Europe, a lot of message were give to say open source needs to be hardly cyber secure by design. It's not an option. Guess what? In the LF Energy, we had two professional assessment at the Linux Foundation level. So it's, I think, one of the best you can have in the world. For two main projects, I spoke about OperatorFabric. It has been assessed by the Linux Foundation from a cybersecurity point of view. And guess what? It was green. Some part of the software and its natural were red or maybe orange, but it was directly corrected and the last release of OperatorFabric is assessed and stamped by the cybersecurity assessment. So this is a huge announcement, and same for the CPAS project. CPAS project is in the digital substation SIG, and it's also a green stamp saying, and there was not so much orange KPIs. Almost everything were green, only few dependencies in libraries, and it was completely green checked. So I think these two information are very key, because it's a demonstration on the field and in production, because CPAS is in production in France, in RTE. So yes, we're speaking about something very serious.
And that's a very perfect segue, since you brought this event here. Talk about your LF Energy's presence here, RT's presence, and why, because this is a much wider Linux open source centric, and you have to talk about your presence here.
Yes, my presence here it's my first attending here in the Open Source Summit Europe. I'm more used to FOSDEM, and it's very professional here, where FOSDEM is more academics and personal attendees. So here I come to see what happens in the other OSPOs, and it's very, very inspirational. And when you see other industries, or when you see a pure player of open source, we saw Linus Torvalds yesterday, and you have all the gurus of the open source, the pioneer of the open source. And when you are in contact with this population, and when you are in contact with other industries, it's very interesting to transpose what they have already done in the past in the open source, that you can take as direct follow-up for you in your OSPO, in your company. So all this culture, for example, the BBC, so it's from the UK and about TV, we can say that there is no connection between them and us in energy. But when we are speaking about open source, their maturity level is an example for us. And I will, of course, give follow-up to the discussion we had with them in the different session they attended. And yes, it's a very, very interesting location to learn a lot.
What are the next thing we should be expecting from LF Energy?
We are working on maturing what the SIGs are about, how it works, who are the elected members for chairing the SIGs and for making the contact with the TAC. And I think this is the most important deliverable for the end of the year. So we're working on.
Did you also hear some concerns, some challenges, some hurdles that organizations face when they embrace open source, where you feel that LF Energy can come and help them in removing some of those hurdles?
Yes, definitely. We had very interesting players, and it's the first time they come to the LF Energy Summit. For example, we had the NSOE, we had the RCC I spoke about, so it's the Regional Coordination Center, and we have few vendors that still are in a patent culture. So they came, it's a first success, but now we need to find the key for vendors, for more vendors, and for these regulators or coordinator in the energy domain to be comfortable with their executives and say, hey, there is a shift of business model, but it's needed. And this is where the parallel with the vehicles, with the cloud, with all the industries that already are mature in doing the interoperability stuff in open source comes in the place. So I think if we should improve on something, we should have something like what is open source about when you are a vendor, and when you are a coordination place like RCC or NSOE. And if we have this kind of deliverables, we can give them at the onboarding and say, hey guys, go to the executive people with that, and it's like a seed for managing a culture shift to interoperability, common software, open source.
Boris, once again, thank you so much for taking time out and sitting with me
It's
and give us an
pleasure.
update. And as usual, I would love to have you back on the show. Thank you.